Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
It appeared that they were washed up with the water last night coming down the creek.
This is what we call a grisly discovery that was found on Labor Day. 2 people found dead after last night's heavy rainfall across San Antonio.
Yeah, this is a video from a KSAT viewer and shows just how much rain was coming down. This is at 281 and Bitters Road. Now, the bodies were found about a mile south in Salado Creek at Maltzberger Lane, right off 281 and Wurzbach Parkway. KSAT crews were there as San Antonio Police Chief William McManus spoke to the media.
Now, our Avery Everett has been on top of this story. And Avery, we understand that the victims may have been experiencing homelessness.
Yeah, Steph and Courtney, Chief William McManus says it appears so. We don't know the names of either victim yet. All we know is that there was 1 male and 1 female. The chief did say that this appears to be a drowning, and you can see from where I'm standing just how forceful and strong that water was last night as it ripped through Salado Creek. I mean, there are dozens of shopping carts that are out here right now all along this creek. So as you look more downstream, that's where we're told the bodies were found, more downstream than where we're standing. But the chief, as of the news conference earlier today, could not tell us where exactly they came from, where those people were washed away, but he believes it was somewhere upstream. So I want you to take a look at this video. The police investigation here started just after noon. KSAT was the first news crew on the scene. Friends of the victim had alerted police that 3 people had been missing. That notification actually came hours before the bodies were found. Chief McManus says those friends actually found the body of the woman first while doing their own search. That's when they called police again. After units arrived, SAPD and the San Antonio Fire Department found the body of the man closely nearby. The chief says at this time, there is no suspicion of foul play. I want you to take a look at this graphic now that was made by our KSAT Weather Authority team. This shows that just under 4 inches of rain has fallen over the last 24 hours here near 281 in Maltzberger Lane. Along other parts of the Salado Creek nearby, it was about 3 inches. So earlier I mentioned that those friends had reported 3 people possibly missing to police. We were told a 3rd man was found alive and safe. Reporting live, I'm Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
Yeah, Avery, thank you. Just another tragedy as a result of heavy rain in our area. We've been through so much in this community in the past couple months. So, of course, the big question when this happens is, are we in for more rain?
And the only person who has the answer here in the building is meteorologist Adam Caskey. And Adam, the question for you is, what are our chances or rain chances in the coming days?
Rain chances are up there. I do want to say that. We do have opportunities by this upcoming weekend, just around the corner, I should say. And part of it's due to some tropical moisture coming our way from the Pacific. But I want to point out the excessive rainfall totals just over the past 24 hours. Let's go to the northeast side of town, right along Wurzbach Parkway here, basically where we were talking about with Avery. And around McAllister Park and just outside of the airport, see these red colors? This indicates, look at this, 5 inches of rainfall right along Wurzbach Parkway. Of course, the yellow, nothing to sneeze at. You're looking at 2 to 3.5 inches of rainfall from the heavy downpours and storms we had over the past 24 hours. Similar situation on the southeast side of San Antonio. Look at this. Near Boltville and just south of China Grove. Look at that, nearly 5 inches of rain. Meanwhile, China Grove had 2.7, which is pretty impressive as well. And then the swath right through the center of town from Taft High School all the way to John Jay to downtown over toward the Frost Bank Center, or the Frosty as we like to call it. And whenever you see yellow, that indicates at least 2 inches of rain accumulated. A few showers do linger out there right now. Nothing significant, but we do have a few showers, mainly in the hill country. Along these outflow boundaries, we've had a few of these little downpours pop up. Nothing significant, quick splash and dash. You can get a quick 1/4 to 1/2 an inch out of these, and one of them right over Canyon Lake that's headed southward, about to cross over 46. I don't anticipate these to last very long, and they don't have any lightning associated with them, which is another sign that they're not very strong. They're pretty shallow storms. They don't have tall tops on them, so I don't expect them to be really hard hitters or last that long. And then the last little bit, McMullen County, headed to the east, and this is all just light rain left over in Atascosa County. Our shower's coming to an end this evening, but again, next weekend's what we're focusing on. We could even have some heavy rainfall. I'll talk about the setup and what we're watching and what we need to pay attention to all week in just a bit.
Adam, thank you.
All right, 6 years ago today, a man's life was cut short, and San Antonio police still have not caught the person responsible.
Our John Paul Badajas spoke with Anthony Clark's mom at her son's final resting place as she continues to look for answers.
It's been 6 years to the day
Yes,
since he was taken from you.
yes.
How are you holding up?
Oh, they say it's gonna get better, but it don't. It get worse every year.
Anthony Clark was killed outside of Club Groob, an East Side nightclub, on September 1st of 2019.
Oh, give me the strength, Jesus.
6 years later, his mom, Barbara Boyd, is still looking for justice.
We have a person that murdered somebody, and that was my son. And if he's still out there on the loose, God forbid, I hope he don't hurt anybody else.
Boyd tells us she isn't sure what led up to the shooting or if there was a motive. San Antonio police explained the suspect shot Clark with a high-powered rifle from distance. Exactly how far isn't clear.
I'm a mother with a bleeding heart. Turn yourself in so I can get justice, and your mind can be at peace.
For now, she uses the memories of her son to keep her going.
It's always happy, always making everybody happy.
Big old smile on his
Yes,
face.
always.
And she hopes a Crime Stoppers reward of up to $5,000 for any information leading to an arrest will spark new attention on her son's case.
How often do you come out here?
Oh, 2-3 times a week.
If there was one thing you could say to him right now, what would that be?
Your mother is still fighting for your justice. And you keep watching over me like you are.
John Paul Barajas,
I won't stop.
KSAT 12 News.
A mother's hope. In other news tonight, 3 people are facing charges in connection to an illegal bar operation. Bexar County deputies arrested Emmanuel Awa Kenna, Frutinga, and Bobby Britton back on Saturday.
This all happened on Binz-Engelman Road near North Foster Road and I-37. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says a deputy saw alcohol being sold and consumed inside Leaf Hookah Lounge without a liquor license.
So the Sheriff's Office said that the hookah lounge did not have a valid certificate of occupancy and had an unsafe number of people inside. And the 3 suspects who were arrested have since been released on bond. You can read more about those charges in this case over on KSAT.com.
Well, Stephanie, as you and I have both seen, we have seen so much kindness in the Hill Country since the devastating July 4th flooding. People pitching in, sharing their talents to help neighbors get through the biggest challenge of their lives.
That's right, and you're about to meet an interior designer from Ingram. One of her homes, by the way, also destroyed by the flood, and yet, she is focusing on others. She's furnishing their homes for free. And you know why she's doing it? No reason, just because.
Home means everything to me.
Like many in the Hill Country, Christina Flood was directly affected by last month's flooding.
We lost our little river house, and walking in there and seeing everything just tossed about in the mud.
Luckily for Christina, this wasn't her family's primary home. Now, when she looks around and sees what other people have lost, she feels a calling.
To come home and see some beautiful things again, that's what I want to do.
And it's what she is doing. Christina's an interior designer. She owns and runs her shop in Ingram. And since the flood, she's been taking some of her inventory and donating it to flood victims for free, like this living room set.
I wanted to offer furniture, quality furniture, not just donated pieces, not just bargain store finds.
Christina says so far she's donated about $20,000 worth of furniture to people like Brenda Trollinger. I met Brenda and her husband Mike earlier this month. They're rebuilding their home after floodwaters swept away or ruined all of their possessions. Now many of Brenda's belongings will be replaced, thanks to Christina.
We're going to have, nice furniture. We have hope that we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel.
That's Christina's goal.
When I see the joy that it brings to other people, it means everything to me.
She wants to help people heal so that when they're finally back home, they can feel at home.
It may seem like nothing to a lot of people. It's just things in a home, but it's a life. I mean, it's kind of the heartbeat of your home when you walk in. It feels warm, and it's memories. It's all of the things.
We're so happy to highlight people like Christina. We found out about what she's doing through the very people that she's trying to help, and she told us that she's going to continue helping people for as long as she can. Now we're going to take a live look outside, give you a live look at the roads right now. This is something that we brought to you at 5 o'clock, 281 at Summit Church Road. There was a little bit of traffic in the area at the time. We couldn't tell you if it had to do with construction or an accident, but doesn't matter because right now it looks like it's all cleared in that area.
Could San Antonio get more out of a Spurs arena deal and the wider Project Marvel? Labor groups thinks it can and should.
So the Schools Our Students Deserve coalition, unions, council members, and supporters, they got together today. They rallied at City Hall because they want a robust community benefits agreement for Project Marvel. A key portion of the proposed downtown sports and entertainment district is a $1.3 billion Spurs arena,
the construction of which would be funded with the majority of public funds.
The dust settles on the next Spurs finals victory. This project's lasting legacy should be more than memories generated in a sports arena. Its legacy should be investment in good paying union construction jobs, increased investment in affordable housing in our city's urban core, new funding for public transportation infrastructure, and investment in our city's schools.
The head of a local teachers union confirmed their request is about wider Project Marvel and not just that arena.
So voters are going to decide on Bexar County's portion of the funding this November.
A dispute with your neighbor or landlord or dealing with a divorce doesn't always mean you have to call up a lawyer.
I didn't know that. So mediation is another option, and a Bexar County center has provided that service for free for more than 40 years.
I'm glad you say that because I didn't know this existed either. It turns out a lot of other people didn't. So I paid the office a visit to find out how this is helping families, businesses, but also the court system.
Have you heard of the Dispute Resolution Center?
No.
And community member Cynthia Rubio isn't the only one. She was pleasantly surprised to find out the Bexar County Dispute Resolution Center has been offering free mediation for over 40 years.
If I had to describe mediation in one word, that word would be negotiation. And I'll contrast that when you go to court. There is no negotiation.
Why is it important that people can reach an agreement before they move on to the court system?
There's no charge for the service. You have absolutely nothing to lose.
Center Director Al Cortez is one of 9 paid employees, but there are up to 90 volunteer mediators that help about 6,000 clients a year.
The mediation used to happen all in person, but right now it's pretty much all virtual.
We get a lot of cases referred to us by the courts. There's a local rule that if you request a jury trial, you have to come to mediation.
Those are called the litigation disputes, and 90% of them are family disputes like divorce and child custody or visitation. The other type is called a community dispute, the most common being neighbor or landlord-tenant issues, as well as consumer disputes. And if they can't help, they refer clients to another agency. Something Rubio plans to keep in mind.
A lot of people can't afford attorneys or they don't want to make a bigger deal out of the issue, so I think it's a good deal.
Well, of course, there are some disputes that mediators can't cover in that department. So if you want to find out whether this program can help you for free, head to the Bexar County Dispute Resolution Center's website.
That story is going to be helping a lot of people who didn't know that service was available. All right, still ahead on the news at 6, cleanup in the Hill Country, obviously far from finished. As volunteers continue to pick up the debris, they actually stumble upon something that they really didn't expect, something that was millions of years in the making. And we'll explain that after the break.
And taking a look outside with live cam, just 83 degrees and the radar is lit up still. Will it taper down? We're going to talk to Adam Cassidy. Well, as the cleanup from the Hill Country floods continue, volunteers in Travis County just found something old while they were clearing debris.
So when Courtney says old, she means like prehistoric old?
Super old.
Our Sonia Beato has the story.
This is what came up as volunteers were clearing debris from a private property at Big Sandy Creek near Leander. Can you tell what it is? Here's another angle. They're dinosaur tracks.
We saw the tracks, and we also saw some places where new tracks have been exposed due to the floodwaters scouring the landscape.
That's UT Austin paleontologist Dr. Matthew Brown. He says the tracks are 115 million years old. And another paleontologist, Dr. Thomas Adams, thinks he knows who they belong to.
The most likely candidate, based off the size of those tracks and what we know about the dinosaurs that are here at the same time, they're attributed to something like Acrocanthosaurus.
That's a 3-toed carnivorous dinosaur. And you can actually check out their fossils in person here at the Whitty Museum. Back to the tracks. They aren't what you'd call a new discovery. Dr. Adams says a UT student found them back in the 80s.
They probably were covered up, and the flooding actually has re-exposed them and given us another opportunity to go and check them out and document them.
So there could be more out there. In fact, since last month's flood, Dr. Brown says he's received dozens of reports of other dinosaur tracks throughout central Texas. And the more we know, the more insight we have into the dinosaurs that roamed the region more than 100 million years ago. Sonia Dejaro, KSAT 12 News.
Pretty cool stuff.
It's
able to find that out, yeah.
And you think you're just standing where like there was a rock or something. I always think about if you see these things, what exactly would make you think it's like a dinosaur footprint?
Exactly.
I would think it was like a prank at first. You know, honestly, I think like, okay, where are the cameras?
Because it's something you would do to somebody.
Yes, it is. I do that to family.
That does track. It does track.
100%, exactly. Let's talk rain chances going forward. We actually could have some heavy rainfall again next weekend. Similar timing, really. Saturday, late Saturday and Saturday night on into Sunday. About 50 to 60% coverage across south central Texas. Until then, we're looking dry. Once the last few showers on the radar this evening come to an end, after sunset, we're looking dry. So here's what we're watching closely for the rain chances this upcoming weekend. And keep in mind, meteorologically speaking, next weekend is still pretty far away. But we're watching this cluster of storms right here that's likely to turn into our next tropical storm or hurricane. As this tracks to the north and then northeast into the Baja Peninsula somewhere in western Mexico there, it'll fall apart a little bit, but some of its remnant energy and moisture is going to head our way into New Mexico and Texas, and we could be on the receiving end of some of the remnant moisture and rain-making energy by this upcoming weekend. That's really what a lot of the forecast hinges on. And the overall rainfall potential actually is pretty decent for a good amount of Texas. And keep in mind, this is very generalized, and as usual, we'd probably see some bullseyes here and there of, you know, several inches of rain, kind of like what we had this weekend. So we're watching for potentially heavy downpours as we get into the upcoming weekend. I know it's only Monday, but we need to think ahead to that and check back in for updates, because I guarantee you the forecast will be changing one way or the other for the rainfall next weekend. As for this evening, that rain, it's ending after sunset. And this week, really the work week, it's going to be hot. You'll feel the heat out there, but low afternoon humidity. You don't have to worry about the heat index. Actually, afternoon dew points, the dewies as we like to call them, they'll be down in the 40s, especially Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All right, so we'll take a look at the little bit of action that we have left over. That one shower near Canyon Lake, it's already weakening as it heads south toward Highway 46, Medina to Bandera to Pipe Creek. Still a shower hanging on here. Assuming this stays intact as it heads southward, this right here would make it to the Tarpley area at 6:46 p.m. If this little guy can hang on, it would make it to the northern end of Medina Lake Reservoir at 6:55 p.m. And then that activity that we have in Atascosa County is really simmering down and fizzling out and a little bit closer to the Rio Grande. Not much left with that. Here's the drought monitor. Of course, it's updated every Thursday. And I would anticipate some improvements here because I'm going to outline the worst drought areas, basically the severe to exceptional drought, the worst three categories. And now let's go to the rainfall totals just over the past couple of days. And particularly here in Bexar County and even parts of Medina County, which did miss out on a lot of the July rainfall, we've been seeing a couple of inches of rain. Look at that. Rio Medina, Castroville area, about 2.7. You get closer to the airport, McAllister Park, about 4.2 inches. So I would anticipate some slight improvement to the drought monitor. The problem is our groundwater is still really lacking and below average. The aquifers, the stream flows are still pretty low, and that's why we're not going to see big improvements to the drought monitor. 90, our high temperature today. That's what we like about these rainy days. Good dove opener day. Not bad, right? Not too hot. You had some clouds for natural shadow. That was nice. So far this year, we've had 19 triple-digit days. Nothing like this time last year at 27. And of course, the notorious summer, the infamous summer of 2023, 65 triple-digit days with about another dozen to go. We'll gladly put that in our past. Notice the temperatures near 80 Pleasanton, where we have rain in the area. Hondo 81, clouds helping out. Even Beeville 83. Meanwhile, where we have a little more sun, New Braunfels, for example, at 91. We'll see these temperatures gradually falling through the 80s and 70s overnight. And tomorrow morning at sunrise, we start the day at 74. It's going to be Rain-free day tomorrow, just a 10% chance of a stray shower. Generally just mixture of sun and clouds, 86 at noon, and then 96 for the high temperature. That's 96 Devine, 91 Bernie, 96 Nixon, Smiley, Gonzales, 95. Near 100 Wednesday, Thursday, but again, low afternoon humidity. Check back into for the rainfall updates for the upcoming weekend throughout the week.
A week out, and still 50%. That looks great.
Yeah, you don't see that often. That
No, you don't.
says a lot about our confidence in this situation.
And you had me at low humidity.
Exactly. We're all happy
Telling me
about
there's
that.
a chance it'll feel okay.
Exactly. All right, so week 1 of big game coverage, that's already in the books. Now we're up for week 2. So give us a little tasty taste of what we can expect.
Yeah, well, of course, our featured event, our game of the week for big game coverage. It's an intriguing one this week. We'll preview it coming up here from both teams and get you ready for a matchup against two teams that had big wins week 1. And we are revealing our week 2 12's top 12 high school football rankings after the break. We are on to week 2 of the high school football season, and our big game coverage game of the week will be Johnson versus Piper. Now, Johnson throttled its week 1 opponent, Judson, 45-7. The Jaguars are so far living up to their projection of being one of the San Antonio area's top teams in 2025. The program has 15 returning starters from the squad that won the 27-6A title last season. Now Johnson gears up for the Warriors, who gave them their only regular season loss last year, and this time coming off of a 38-point win.
We have our motto, rise up. And so we really risen up to the challenge last week, and now we have a new challenge in front of us, and that's Piper, and they're a really good team, and so are we. So we have to go in this week and take care of the small details.
The first one of the season was really important to us because it's the start of a great season for us, and going into Piper, even though we won against Judson, we're going into them as 0-0. We know how important this game is to us.
That Judson game was really good. Normally it's a really close game, but we shut them out pretty well. And just on defensive, we had great pursuit to the ball, and our offense was taking good shots all week. Next week, it's a really good rivalry because last year that was our only loss before the playoffs, and we're just going in there just not thinking about last week. We're just thinking about what we can do and how we can come back stronger.
Well, Piper came out on the winning end of a high-scoring affair at Bernie week 1, 35-28. The Warriors schedule their non-district slate tough for a reason. That's because they have a state championship state of mind.
Any sort of doubt or lack of confidence that anyone has, it kind of is washed away. And we didn't even play our best game on either side of the ball, and we still managed to come out with the victory. So I think to us, that's kind of a testament to our potential this year and how successful we can really be.
It was a learning game, but I believe that we have so much more room to improve, and we can be a great defense. They're a solid team. They got great kids there. They got studs. It's going to be a good game.
The most athletic team on the schedule. A lot of speed. On the offensive side, defensive side, they're big. You said it. They have a lot of dudes. So we're going to have to bring our A game, and I think we can, and we just got to go execute.
All right, here is the game of the week info. Piper visiting Johnson Friday at 7:30. We'll have highlights and post-game reaction later that night here on KSAT 12. And take a look at our week 2 BGC road trip. We're taking you to Medina Valley with Bernie champion in town, Hondo for a battle against Carrizo Springs, and Sabinal, who's taking on Harper. All right, it's time now to reveal your week 2 12's top 12. We start off with Class 6A. Coming in at 12, East Central, they lost a thriller to Harlan. 11, Churchill. 10, Sotomayor, who was featured in our KSAT Pigskin Classic. 9 is Taft. Coming in at 8 is Clark, who won the KSAT Pigskin Classic. 7 is Reagan. They came up just short against Brennan in our game of the week. 6, Brandeis. And rounding out our top 5, New Braunfels Canyon, Johnson, Harlan, Brennan, and Steele. All right, Class 5A now. Coming in at 12 is Southwest Legacy. 11, Tivy. 10, South San. At 9, we have Lanier. Number 8 is Bernie Champion. At number 7, we have John Jay. 6 is Southwest. And our top 5, we have Bernie. Number 4, Alamo Heights. 3, New Braunfels. Number 2, Piper. And number 1, Smithson Valley, who started their season with a 62-6 win. And in sub 5A, at number 12, Holy Cross, 11, Jordanton, 10, Canyon Lake, number 9 is Hondo, at 8, Antonian, 7 is Central Catholic, 6, we have Poth, at number 5, Marion, number 4, Divine, 3, Somerset, number 2, Davenport, and at number 1, Lavernia, who opened up their season with a 71-6 victory.
Go Bears!
Go Bears.
It's football, baby.
It's football.
Back.
Love it.
I'm so happy for all of us.
Yes.
All right. Thanks so much, Mary.
Thank you. And we will be right back right after this. Welcome back. As you know, San Antonio is known for tourism and hospitality, so you know what that means. We have a lot of hotels.
We sure do. 2 of those hotels, the Menger and the Crockett, were recently purchased, though, by the Texas General Land Office. Both hotels have overlooked the Alamo for more than a century and have lots of history behind them.
And yes, of course, sometimes that history includes ghost stories.
Of course it does.
So here's Myra Arthur with a portion of KSAT Explains Historic Hotels.
This is so beautiful.
Oh, this is spectacular. Where do you get this? Hello, welcome to the Menger Hotel, the historic Menger Hotel. This is the original wing of the hotel. So the hotel had 50 rooms when it opened. It opened in 1859. And with the exception of COVID, it is the longest operating full-service hotel in the state of Texas. And William Menger came to Texas in the 1840s as a cooper, a barrel maker from Germany. He brewed beer, and before the hotel was opened, he opened a tavern. Back in the 1850s, a pretty rustic San Antonio, so there weren't hotels to sleep it off, so they ended up sleeping it off in the tavern. They had an idea, well, why don't we build a boarding house next to the tavern?
So it was a one-stop shop.
Exactly. And they made a lot of money, and then they went to the city and said, we'd like to erect a full-service hotel. And then they opened the Menger Bar, but it was a replica of the House of Lords pub in England, in London. When Prohibition hit in the 20s, they had to close the bar, but they dismantled all the wood and they tagged it and they logged it in and they stored it. And then as the hotel expanded this way, in the 40s after World War II, in the 60s they moved the bar to its new location, but they erected all the panel like the original.
And you've had some famous people come through here and stay, I imagine.
Oh yes, Teddy Roosevelt is probably the most famous, and he hung out in the Menger Bar before the Spanish-American War recruiting Rough Rider cavalry. A lot of people don't know it, but the Camino Royale and the Chisholm Trail actually go right through downtown. And so the cowboys and the cattle would come right past the Menger Bar. And the story goes that he and his colleagues sat in the bar, looked for an appropriate cowboy, ran out there, and recruited them to be part of the Rough Riders. We've got a couple bullet holes in the wood from when Teddy and a friend were a little overly served in doing target practice. The Menger, like many historic hotels, always claim to have ghosts, and we have guests that swear that they've been visited by people that are not checked in through our opera system. I live in the hotel. I haven't seen any ghosts.
So living here, you haven't run into any?
I haven't run into, I've had maybe some odd paranormal stuff, but it's an old hotel. It creaks. Let's go out to the courtyard. When the hotel opened, it was here, and this was a garden for Mary Menger, and she grew herbs and vegetables and a lot of the things that they used to serve food in the colonial restaurant. One of the recipes in the original menu was turtle soup, and the archives show that they fished the turtles out of the San Antonio River.
I wouldn't do that today.
Maybe not today. This is one of the most photographed parts of the hotel, and I guess I have to chuckle because it doesn't seem to be like ancient history, phone booths and payphones.
A phone? With a cord?
With a coin. You have to put a coin in the phone.
How do you get Google on this?
But it's probably the most photographed set. Kids, adults, everybody taking photos of being in a photo booth.
Of all the history in here, that's pretty funny.
So how long has the Crockett been around?
About 115 years.
115 years. How did it get its start?
Well, the Order of the Oddfellows back in 1909 laid the cornerstone, which is located on the west side of our building. They originated in the United Kingdom. They built this beautiful hotel to use as a hotel for the first 4 floors, and the top 2 floors, which was just the 5th and the 6th, was used for their fraternity and for their private use.
Where we're sitting right now, I imagine this was once an open air courtyard type area.
Yes. And they brought the outside inside. And that is one of the most unique things that all of our guests love to comment on. That the Crockett Hotel has the outside inside. The Crockett Hotel, like a lot of businesses in 2020, was affected by COVID. And so the Crockett Hotel closed its doors for 2 years from 2020 to 2022.
So a lot of old hotels, they have ghost stories. Are there any here?
We did have some ghost hunters come to visit us. We were telling them that sometimes on our 4th floor, we have strange things that happen. And so actually while we were in the elevator directed itself to the next floor up and then the next floor down all by itself without us pressing any buttons.
All kinds of stories with hotels as old as this one.
Anyone who knows me, you know I don't do scary, so I'm going to take everyone else's
word for it.
All
right. So this was part 2 of our KSAT Explains on historic hotels.
You can find both parts and watch them on demand on KSAT.com or the KSAT YouTube page. We'll be right back.
Millions of Texans have been hitting the roads this Labor Day.
Devin Karp spent the morning where else but Buc-ee's, of course, in New Braunfels, to hear how drivers are saving money and when there could be some relief at the gas pump.
It's the melting pot of road trips right over here at Buc-ee's. They're anticipating thousands of Texan drivers making their way after the Labor Day weekend, but they're all trying to get to their destination safely and save some money if they can do it.
It's the happiest corgi in the world.
What brought you guys to Buc-ee's today?
We were just traveling up to the Jacobs Well. It was the last day of the 4-day long weekend and wanted to get her some exposure.
We come to go tubing on the Comal, and now we just basically we come to eat.
This is a must stop all the time we come.
Thousands of families hitting I-35 on Labor Day after their vacations and stopping at Buc-ee's for the food and the fuel.
We save so we can spend as much as we can, or as much as we want.
But for those looking to save, gas can be one of the ways to do it.
But yeah, you can use Waze, I think, and you can use Gas Buddy to find cheap gas, or where it's cheaper.
Texas AAA says they've seen prices go up and down a lot recently.
The reason for that is we're nearing the end of summer. So many people are completing their summer road trips, and with the additional need for fuel to take those road trips, that does put upward pressure on the prices at the pump.
The good news, after today, they expect prices to go back down after Labor Day weekend ends.
There will be less demand for fuel as the summer driving season has come to an end. And then also the cheaper winter blend fuel will start entering the marketplace during the fall months, which will bring even more relief to drivers.
There's also going to be an increased presence of Texas DPS troopers, making sure everyone gets home safe today. So make sure you take it nice and slow on your drive, and you should get to your destination as you need. I'm Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
I have to say, I haven't been seeing a lot of people on the roads for the past few hours, so maybe that's a good thing. All right, so here's a live cam right now. 83 degrees out there. You see it's looking kind of gray out there. Adam Caskey is going to join us in a bit so that we can talk about more of possible rain chances. We'll be right back.
Lingering light rain left over far south of San Antonio, especially parts of Atascosa County. Very light and starting to come to an end. But this little downpour, this is just a little downpour that could. Bandera over toward Tarpley, moving into Tarpley basically right now. Assuming this could actually maintain itself all the way to Hondo. Hondo could get clipped by 8:05 p.m. to Hennis about pretty much the same time. But this is it, and this is going to have a hard time after sunset, really maintaining its bit of strength that it has left. A little bit of lightning now detected within this one. It's just, again, that little downpour that could, and it's starting to make its way southward. Now, this batch of light rain along I-37, people coming back from the coast running into this, and especially from Campbellton northward, just to about the Bexar County line and Bronig Lake, all very light, but still good, soaking, meaningful rain and some rainfall that we definitely need. Let's look at the past 24 hours, and you see the bullseyes of rainfall, especially these red areas. Southeast Bexar County, Northwest Wilson County. Floresville didn't get much, but look at this. Floresville, check this out. Right there, right along 181 in Floresville. Oh, let me get my little eyedropper again. Come on, eyedropper. There you go. Okay, there we go. 0.15, Floresville, okay? Then let's go closer to the Bexar County line. 5.3 inches. So about a 5-inch difference of rainfall in 10 miles. That's it. That's the nature of rain around here. It's not equal opportunity. It's haves and have-nots. Now, the aquifer got in on some good rain. That was nice to see. And you look at the yellows to oranges, that's 2 to 3 inches of rainfall just over the past couple of days, right on the recharge zone. Of course, we always outline the recharge zone in black there. That's why it's up 1.6 feet just since yesterday. Here's what we're watching for next weekend. This area of thunderstorms right now, not highly organized, but likely to turn into our next tropical cyclone. So tropical storm, possibly even hurricane. This would head northward and potentially even make landfall in the Baja Peninsula. And of course, whenever these interact with land, they fall apart. But there's always remnants left over. Upper level rain making energy, moisture as well. That's what's going to be moving into Texas. And we could actually tap into a bit of that as we get into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and then even on into Sunday. So we have the potential of some even pockets of heavy rain into the upcoming weekend. So we have those rain chances at about 50 to 60%. So about half of South Central Texas we think is likely to get in on some of the rain, possibly even heavy rain over the weekend, and we'll have to be on the lookout for flash flooding. Here's the overall weather pattern, and it's the tale of two seasons right now. You have this big dip in the upper level flow, a dip in the jet stream in the eastern U.S., and the opposite. We all know the heat high, the big blue H, that's over the western U.S. That's where the heat is in the western U.S. Even Boise, 100 degrees at this hour. Phoenix, 108. Vegas, 106. Billings, Montana at 90. But then you go to the East Coast and it's actually very fall-like, from Charlotte to D.C. to New York, Detroit, even Chicago in the 70s at this hour. That's what those upper level troughs will give you. Now we'll be back near 100, 96 tomorrow, but near 100 Wednesday, Thursday. Key is low humidity during the hottest part of the day. Dewy's down in the 40s. And then this weekend, check back in for updates because we will be fine-tuning this forecast as the days go by. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes.
My friends, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on ABC Primetime on this very Labor Day. You can do a 3-hour binge with Jimmy Kimmel on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And that's going to take place from 7 to 10. And then guess what? We'll be right back at 10 for the Night Beat. We invite you to join us then. And we'll be right back after this.
All right, taking a look outside with TransGuide. We want to end with a beautiful shot of the San Antonio skyline. No traffic right there at I-37 in the Alamo Dome. Hoping everyone's chowing down on some Labor Day grilling.
Exactly. Enjoy the time with your family, and we'll see you tonight on the Night Beat.